The Chicago Bears are an interesting team. They've kind of completely revamped everything. Matt Nagy was a disaster. They brought in a new head coach in Matt Eberflus from the Colts. They brought in a new general manager, Ryan Poles. I think he was in the Kansas City organization. Yes, he was with the Chiefs in 2009 as a scouting assistant and worked his way up to being the executive director of player personnel last season with the Chiefs. And already off to a hot start. He won the Roquan Smith holdout standoff. But it goes without saying there are a lot of holes on this roster, and in this rebuild, my goal obviously is to correct those. Never been great at filling holes. We'll have to see if we can this time. And I think we're in a pretty good spot with the Bears because we can rebuild completely around this guy. Justin Fields, again, the lighting, just incredible. It's gonna warm up. It's like when you go down into a basement, an old basement. I don't know how many of you guys can even recognize with this analogy. And you turn on the lights and then it takes like a minute or you get a flicker. But Justin Fields, I think he's going to be really, really good. Here's my major concern is I don't think the Bears have done a good job at all with surrounding him with talent and getting him protection. When you look at the offensive line, it's not a great group. Cody Whitehair is good. Tevin Jenkins has the potential to be good. But outside of that, it's a pretty bad group. Like Riley Reef is one of those replaceable guys. I wouldn't be shocked if he is the bridge tag, because you don't want Riley Reef starting. But if he's there, it's like, all right, we can do worse. We don't want to because that'd be a disaster, but we can. Sam Mustipher has potential. We'll have to see. Lucas Patrick starting at center here. Michael Schofield. Larry Borum could eventually be a starter. But we're going to have to do better on the offensive line. We will. Or we need to see some development. Cole Kmet, I think, could be a good starting tight end. And then the receiving core is just horrific. We have Darnell Mooney, money with two O's. Love Darnell Mooney. A beast coming out of Tulane. Was a late round pick that ended up just bursting out onto the scene. And then outside of that, it's so bad. Byron Pringle was good in Kansas City as like a fourth or fifth option. Dante Pettis has been cut from so many different teams. N'Keal Harry is looking like a major bust. David Moore is like a good fourth or fifth option, but you really don't want him as like a core part of your receiving core. Tajay Sharp, I feel like is kind of the same deal. And then we don't even see Velus Jones in here. I think Velus Jones will end up playing a lot, the rookie out of Tennessee. David Montgomery is a beast. Khalil Herbert in behind him. And of course, can't forget about Darrington Evans. Now, I don't know if he's going to end up playing a ton. Super nice guy. He's very active on Twitter and in the Twitch scene. Shout out Darrington Evans live. But don't know if he's going to be RB1 at any point for me. Probably not. Eddie Jackson in the secondary. Roquan Smith is great. Now, we are in a 4-3, and I know the CPU has a tendency to throw Roquan Smith at rush right end and throw DeAndre Houston Carson and Nicholas Morrow at sub linebacker. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that my rush ends are Robert Quinn and Trevis Gibson. Roquan's got to be playing off the ball. Like, absolutely has to be. So it's not going to take me long to correct that. And also, I think, is this the first year Roquan Smith has actually been scanned into the game? I feel like I don't remember him actually having the full profile before, the full actual scan. I don't think so. On the defensive line, I think Robert Quinn should honestly be a higher overall. It's kind of crazy that, you know, such a skilled veteran pass rusher is an 83 overall coming off of one of his best ever years. And that's saying something because he had some unbelievable years early on in his career. For some reason, it shows that he had 0 sacks last year. Very not true. It was like 18 and a half. Yeah, 18 and a half on the nose. Like, sacks are a misleading number because you got to factor in how they actually get those sacks and that sack production. However, you don't really fluke into 18 and a half. He was definitely better than an 83 overall. However, with that being said, he is a 32-year-old normal development edge rusher for me. I'm going to have to trade him. If I were doing a realistic rebuild like you guys have seen on the channel, like I'll continue to do over the course of Madden 23, I would hold on to Robert Quinn. But he's going to be someone I like to trade. Trevis Gibson in here, Mike Pennell. It's just like, we don't really have much to work with in here. Justin Jones is only 26. I do want to involve Kyrus Tonga a little bit. He was actually a player I like quite a bit coming out of BYU, and I think he's got some potential. So I might try and develop him a little bit. He's 26 years old, though, already. That's wild, but I guess BYU makes sense that he'd be older. Jalen Johnson's a beast. Kyler Gordon will be CB2 for me. I think he's going to end up being a really good player. Tavon Young in the nickel, Duke Shelley, whatever. Thomas Graham probably will play over Duke Shelley. I feel like he should be a slightly higher overall as well. And then we have the rookie Jaquan Brisker at strong safety. We'll look to develop him. I'd like him to start. Dude, what is like this change? I want Al-Qadim Muhammad playing rush right end. I might just make a trade. Dominique Robinson was also a player I liked quite a bit in the draft too. Charles Snowden as like a developmental player I liked as well. I can see these guys being rotational pass rushers at some point. First trade I'm making is sending Robert Quinn and Mario Edwards Jr. to the Seahawks, as well as a 3rd round pick. I'm getting back a 2023 2nd round pick and a 2024 2nd round pick for my efforts. Robert Quinn's still really good, but I just know there's no point to even keeping him around. Just too old here to really do anything for me. 32-year-old pass rusher, and he's just not even that high rated. He should be, in my opinion, just based on feel, and obviously there are a number of different things that go into overall, but he feels like an 87 overall, and he's an 83. I just feel like it's kind of a big difference. In these just basic fantasy-style rebuilds, like I like to call them, I do keep the auto-generated rookies, so it's cool to see just all the different players you can get with the generators that Madden 23 has for sometimes even generational players, even though the rarity on those guys and even the real high quality players, they're very, very rare. Keep that in mind. In the realistic rebuilds, the biggest change overall is that I don't really make trades like the one I would do for Robert Quinn, and I use my 2023 draft class. So if you're into that, check out the rebuild playlist. Everything you want is going to be in there. And okay, so we need wide receiver pretty badly. We could use a corner, but if you guys are new to these, I've kind of talked through my strategy a little bit, but I have a video on it completely as well. I like to just match up the strengths of each region with the strength of that particular scout. So Northeast guy doesn't really work for me here. Gonna just go ahead and fire him and hire someone that makes a little bit more sense. And as we sim to the midseason mark, I'm going to keep in mind, guys, I've been pushing this a lot. You've been using the code a lot. If you're going to buy tickets for anything, if you're going to go to a concert, an NFL game, MLB, NBA, whatever it is, if you can find the tickets on the app SeatGeek, you can use code BENGAL and save $20. So you're going to go to it anyway. Might as well save $20 with code BENGAL, B-E-N-G-A-L. And we are 5-2. Dude, I feel shell-shocked. We're 5-2 at the midseason mark. Why? I don't know if we're going to see a second half collapse or what, but we're performing like way too well. Some big players to re-sign though: Roquan Smith, David Montgomery. All right, that's it. That's pretty much it. I don't really have any interest in bringing back Tavon Young or Riley Reef or N'Keal Harry, but I do want to bring back these two, and thankfully the interest is also there. Two 25-year-olds, very good, very young, and very good players. This is a good offer for Roquan Smith, and he's going to be back for the next 5 seasons. I think that's a reasonable contract for him. And David Montgomery, I don't really like to pay running backs, but I think he's good enough where it makes sense. I'm going to lower the money a little bit and see if he's down anyway. And he's like, nah, bitch, get back to me with a real salary. All right, David. I tried to lowball you a little bit, but that's still pretty much what I'm comfortable paying. So we'll have to figure that out. And the focus position is going to be wide receiver. I haven't checked out the class at all. I'm just seeing based on the top prospects and things like that. I know I don't need to worry about quarterback. Wide receiver will be a big point of emphasis, but there seem to be a bunch of talented cornerbacks. So I could see corner being my first pick. It just really all depends on which player looks the best in the class. That's really what it comes down to. I'm going to stop it at week 11 and do my 3 focus players. We'll stop for that. Okay, so we've lost 2 in a row, but there is in week 10 a breakout quarterback challenge, and Justin Fields could end up going to superstar dev. This is exactly what we'd like to see in simulation here. And against the Lions, who are 2-6, this could be a massive opportunity to really solidify Justin Fields as the franchise quarterback. We lost 38-31. I'm thinking he probably didn't get it. We did score a lot of points though, and I mean, it seems like he's not going to get that dev trade upgrade. Unlucky. And the CPU is suggesting we take a look at tight end Raekwon Golden. We do already kind of have our young tight end in Cole Kmet, but if the guy looks really good, I'll check him out. I'm not impressed. Bad tip from the scout. Okay, James Ellington, I can just tell right away, is going to be unbelievable. B catching traffic, B catching A deep route running, B release. He's only 5'8", 183. Little guy. Physically though, great to elite acceleration. Great to elite speed. That's what I'm looking for. The change of direction's only decent to solid, but the bottom line for him is that he is a dude that can fly. He's not going to be the best route runner in the intermediate areas of the field, but deep down the field, this guy is a bona fide game-changing deep threat, and I mean, he's probably going to run around 4.3, maybe even sub 4.3, and we actually have 100% completion on some of these guys, so we could really be in a good spot here. We can see that DeAndre Whitfield is actually going to be better value than his draft spot. D catching traffic worries me a little bit, but he seems pretty solid for a bigger receiver. I mean, I guess he's only 6'1", 213. That's not small, but it's not that big. I figured it would be with his skills, but it isn't. And then you look at a corner like this, Calvin Reynolds, and everything changes. A catching, A man, A press, A zone, elite acceleration. He's a decent enough athlete. This is probably the best player in the draft. He looks unbelievable. And Brian Massey does not look bad either. A man, B zone, also a decent athlete, nothing exceptional, but the player is definitely good. But if you're gonna draft a corner, it's gotta be Calvin Reynolds, surely. He's got A's across the board. Like, you just don't see that. Max Hughes I like a lot. A to C block shed, A pursuit, A tackle. He's also got great to elite speed, great to elite change of direction. Gonna be a really, really good player. Round 2 to 3, I think we got a steal. BJ Ross is blowing me away. Very good looking attributes plus good physicals. The thing is though, is like once I really know about these players, it's like some of them I'm gonna have to move up for, but also it's like, am I really gonna waste my like special focus points on them? Probably not, because I know they're already going to be pretty good. I'm going to take another look at Calvin Reynolds and Jonathan Crockett. Actually, am I wasting it on Calvin Reynolds? I totally am. Okay, so I don't even know what to say. We went 6-11, and is this one of the most legendary collapses of all time? As you can see, I mean, per usual, no force wins, no forced losses, obviously. The only time it says home or away is the bye week where it just says home. But look at this, dude. Win, loss, back-to-back wins. That's great through week 7. We lost in week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No game week 14, can't lose that week, but we still lost the next 3. Got crushed by the Eagles, didn't score against the Bills, got crushed by the Lions, and then beat the Vikings by a field goal in week 18. What a collapse. Now, I usually don't change the playbook year 1 just because I want to see how the actual playbook of the team performs. Justin Fields wasn't bad. Justin Fields was decent, over 4,000 yards passing, did have 27 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. I might stick in the Bears playbook, although David Montgomery was not very effective. Justin Fields was not that effective as a runner either, so that's a little bit concerning. Had a lot of attempts. Receiving, Darnell Mooney was money. Over 1,100 yards on 80 catches, did have 8 touchdowns, but he was like the only competent receiver on the team. Roquan Smith, almost 160 tackles, only 2 for loss though. 2.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, a bizarre stat line. Travis Gibson had 17 TFLs, 14 for Justin Jones, 11 for Al-Qadim Muhammad, and 10 for Kyrus Tonga, who didn't register a sack. 9.5 sacks for Travis Gibson would lead the way, and that's pretty much all we have to show for it. Forced little to no turnovers. Not a great year for the squad, I'm not going to lie to you. And honestly, per usual, it's Cowboys-Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We see this so frequently in Madden 23. I guess I haven't done that many rebuilds yet, but I feel like it's the Cowboys and the Chiefs a lot. The former Dallas Cowboys against the former Dallas Texans. Josh Allen wins MVP. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Jamison Williams is your Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Aiden Hutchinson, 2 Lions. 2 players in our same division right now are your Rookies of the Year. Miles Jack, Defensive Player of the Year, by the way. And Trent McDuffie probably had a pick 6 in the game, and that made him the Super Bowl MVP. Did Dante Pettis get star dev? I think I wanted to definitely bench Dante Pettis. He has star dev now. Maybe I'll trade him. Maybe Dante Pettis has some trade value now. Don't think anything else really changed on offense. Not that I can tell. And then defensively, Roquan Smith is up to superstar dev. Nicholas Morrow has star dev. Kyler Gordon got star dev. Probably not even playing as much as I wanted him to. Okay, that's not bad. We have $153 million in available salary cap. David Montgomery all of a sudden has no interest? How did that change? Super Bowl chase, big market. How does he have no interest now? I mean, I'm not going to handicap myself to save a running back. I would give him a 4-year deal It's a pretty large contract, and I'll franchise tag him if he declines. Guess what? Don't care that you declined. You're going back to Chicago. It is $13 million, but it's also a one-year deal. I'm not locking myself in. And Dante Pettis is actually a free agent as well. But it's not cheap or it's not expensive to bring him back. He's gonna test free agency. Okay, well, but yeah, my point with David Montgomery is there's no real reason to give him like $40 million overall when I can give him $13 million for one season, and it's not really hurting me because my available salary cap is still so large that it's really not going to have any negative impact. We're losing a lot of players here, even some star dev guys like Nicholas Morrow now and Dante Pettis, but they're just not going to end up playing for me long term, so I'm okay with letting them go. Okay, free agency. Odell is in here. I mean, I sign Elton Jenkins a lot, but it's just a move that makes so much sense so consistently that I'm going to do it again. And it's like, okay, so what if I sign the same offensive lineman in rebuilds pretty frequently? There are only so many options, you know? It's like the guys who have expiring contracts are the guys who have expiring contracts. Jack Conklin's an option, but he's just not even close to as good as Elton Jenkins for me here. And Brian Bulaga is 34. I don't want him. I want this Packers right tackle, not the former one. And if we don't get him, we don't get him. It's fine. I will say, though, in one of these videos, I'd love for Eric McCoy to actually have interest in my team. David Edwards, Nate Davis, I would love for him to have interest too. I don't really want to overpay for him. Ronnie Harrison has superstar dev and is a really good fit for the team. I mean, that really sounds like a good 3-year contract for me. He's not going to end up playing over Jaquan Brisker. I'm going to make it work somehow. But I think he's just too good of a deal and too good to pass up on with no other teams interested. Greedy Williams, for some reason, just kind of feels like he would be a Chicago Bear. I'm going to offer him a contract as well. He has pretty good interest in us, so I think there's a really good chance he's going to sign on. We do need some pass rushers. Josh Allen's interest isn't big, so we'd have to pay so much to get him, but it remains an option. Alexander Johnson also feels like a Bear, but I think I will offer Yannick Ngakoue. A 3-year contract is exactly what I was thinking. It does get pretty valuable, but I think he's going to be big for the team. He might end up signing with the Houston Texans instead. Derek Nottie would be a really good fit, and I think that's probably going to be the final player I offer in this period. Evaluate offers. Let's see. Derek Nottie remains. My signings, Elton Jenkins, Ronnie Harrison, and Greedy Williams. So pretty big free agent period for me. I still want Derek Nottie. I'm going to go ahead and evaluate offers again. And Derek Nottie has signed on as well. Big free agent class for this Bears team. Linebacker remains a really big need. I'm thinking about just going undersized and moving Ronnie Harrison down to outside linebacker, play weak side. Eddie Jackson, to me, is somewhat expendable at this point. 29 years old, star dev. I could move him. And obviously, Ronnie Harrison is undersized to play just like a base linebacker, but that's not really going to be his role. So just like the Jets have kind of taken guys like Hampson to Cyrildine out of Florida State and Jamie Sherwood out of Auburn, those safeties that they ended up converting to linebackers. Devon Diablo is a really good example as well from Virginia Tech, played safety, and the Raiders just moved him to linebacker. That seems to be more of a common thing that teams are doing, and it's what I'm going to do here. That being said, though, I do need more depth at linebacker in general, so I'm going to try and sign somebody, even if it's just a bridge player like Alexander Johnson. Maybe he gets the mentor tag, which would be kind of nice. I'm going to sign him. We just need more depth, and he will start at left outside linebacker, or right outside linebacker, excuse me, unless I get a better one in the draft. And we seem to have the best option by a mile. Alexander Johnson surely will sign, and he does. He'll play right outside linebacker for me. I will say also, this Kent State quarterback, Jimmy Flaherty, looks very, very good as well. Like, very, very good. This is looking to be a pretty phenomenal draft class. Yeah, this quarterback's definitely going to be very, very good. The question is, who has the number 1 overall pick? It's the Texans. I think they're unlikely to take the quarterback with Davis Mills, meaning that Calvin Reynolds, in all likelihood, will be headed to the Texans. I don't think I'm going to trade up to number 1 overall for him. It's a good player. Like, not the best athlete in the world, like about average. Elite acceleration, though, but the skills are just unbelievable. Skip the combine, say, hey, Roger Goodell, up yours, jerk. I'm not doing your damn combine. And then he said, hey, scouts, you think I'm doing my pro day? No, wrong. So, I mean, maybe a bit of a gamble on him. Brian Massey also looks very good. It's a decent consolation prize at corner if you can't get the other guy because he's a better athlete, slightly, albeit slightly, with also great skills. It's just zone coverage is a B as opposed to an A, and his play rec and awareness I think is going to be a little bit worse. But this guy is very, very good. Austin Knox, another really, really good player. It's going to be a really difficult decision to figure out who to draft. I just think it's going to be too difficult to move up to number 1 for the quarterback, or the corner, excuse me. Not going to draft a QB. I think it's going to be too difficult to move all the way up. You know, it's interesting that this dude, Brandon Morgan, has elite speed because he ran 4.35. I mean, that's obviously very good. I would call that great, but I don't think it's elite. It's not like top tier. It's very fast. I'm not discounting that. But it's just not, it's not 4.24, which is also the second fastest. But yeah, I'm conflicted about how to handle this draft. I'll tell you that. It's a good problem to have. Very good players. Okay, so it's literally the last player in the entire receiving group who ran 4.24 as well. So I went monotonously, slowly through every single receiver to find that out. Pretty sweet. I would consider moving up, but not to number 1. Texans do take a quarterback, Jimmy Flaherty, over Davis Mills. Interesting. Now, I get that it's possible, but team is unlikely to draft a replacement for this player, yet they still go with the quarterback. He's a 74 overall who's 24 years old with star dev. I'm not saying it's impossible the Texans would take a quarterback with Davis Mills. It certainly isn't, right, in real life. However, in the game, I feel like they shouldn't. Now, it's interesting that his top fits are New England, Detroit, and Seattle. I wonder if they're unlikely to take him as a result because, or like Washington, I mean. Is he just going to stay on the board? Do I try to trade up to number 2? Now, it says their top needs are quarterback. They don't really need corner so bad. I'm going to let it go. We don't really need corner so bad either. But it's just he looks like an amazing player. We're going to simulate. And there goes Calvin Reynolds to the Commanders. He's going to be great. He'll be an 80+ overall. I would bet anything. The only thing that's going to bring down his rating is the fact that he doesn't look to be an unbelievable athlete apart from elite acceleration. But the player is obviously going to be really, really, really good. Just not worth moving up to number 2 for me. Just wanted to keep the value. And we have other more pressing needs. Vikings go with Antoine Mitchell. Brian Massey, the UNC corner, goes to the Lions. At number 10 overall, I'm hoping to draft Austin Knox, I think. That's kind of my main target. If he's off the board, I'm just going to move down. And I like trading down anyway, so that would be a perfect fit. All right, 1 pick before we pick. And our player would be available if I want to go that direction. Obviously need receiver pretty badly. Probably going to avoid these tackles. But I did like the look of this center, BJ Ross. So I might consider drafting him at some point. He just looks like he'd be really, really solid. Big, strong center with good ability as well. The only thing that's bad on him is pass block finesse, but his pass block overall is good. Pass block power is good. And I really like the look of Max Hughes in the second. I'm not going to wait for him to get to the 3rd round. He plays off ball, not a rush linebacker. Perfect fit for my defense, but I also do need a pass rusher. If I wanted to go with the receiver James Ellington, which it'd be tough not to, I would have to move back up. Got to keep that in mind. And this guy, he's just a great athlete. Elite strength, really, really good speed, I think, too. B finesse moves, A power moves, A awareness, play rec, block shed is not awful, I guess, at a C. A tackling. I mean, I think the player is going to be really good. Only 21 years old out of Oregon. I'm going with the 6'4", 280-pound Austin Knox. Does have hidden dev, 82 speed, 90 strength is elite. Very, very, very good. I think he's going to be a decent player for me. I really do. So James Ellington is scheduled to be 15 picks away. I don't know that he's going to last that long. We pick at number 7 overall in the 2nd round. I think I might want to move back up before pick 20 if I want to take him. But we'll see if he even stays available on the board that long. But I also have to keep in mind that I want some other players as well. I want a center. I want the outside linebacker. And I also like some of these receivers down the board. DeAndre Whitfield, Ricardo Jones. They're not like amazing players. Even Dorian Patterson is pretty good. Like, good athlete, The skills are okay. I mean, I see B short, route running, B medium, A spectacular catch. He's not much of a deep threat, but A catch in traffic, B release. Catching at C is not amazing, but the player I think overall is pretty good. But it's going to be tough for me to get everybody that I want. It is. If the Colts go with the receiver here, they didn't. This guy's just still going to stay on the board. It makes it a little bit easier for me to move up. Now, he also has the double fit with the Colts and the Packers. I think this is the spot. I mean, the Colts took somebody else, I guess, so maybe we'll see what the Bills do. They go with a linebacker. Do I just keep risking it? At some point, this dude's going to go off the board, surely. The Steelers, I think, would be considering a receiver at least. You know what? They brought in Russell Gage in video game land, so maybe they wouldn't. So I have 2 second-round picks. How do we navigate this? I could probably package a future second. Now, this is obviously not going to go through. I just want to see where we are on it. Not that far. Maybe a 4th this year and a 4th next year. I would even do as much as a second, but I'm going to try a 3rd. And that's going to be accepted. So we're going to move up. We're really only trading a 4th rounder this year, but a 2nd and a 3rd next year to get this pick at the back end of the 1st round. It is, yes, a 1st round pick, but it's not too far from being a 2nd rounder here. So they took the value of the future picks, and we're going to take this pick. And I think we're trading up for the receiver here. James Ellington still on the board. He's not going to be some elite technician at this point. He's just really just a deep threat. He kind of is like Darnell Mooney coming out, to be honest, except Mooney ended up being a little bit better than what we saw at Tulane because we didn't really see him in a lot of contested catch situations, but I guess he does have B catch in traffic. The route running is just concerning, but James Ellington, welcome to Chicago. 97 speed, 88 jumping, 87 change of direction, 93 agility, 98 acceleration. He's only 5'8", 183, but I hope he ends up being a really good player for us. I also like to see that star or better development. He is 23 years old, though, a little bit older. And there goes that other receiver to the Jaguars not long after our pick. BJ Ross is scheduled to go in roughly 10 picks based on the big board. Would we consider moving back up as well? We're getting to the end of the 1st round here. He's a 1st round pick, so pretty much impossible. That sucks. Okay, with my 1st 2nd round pick, I think I'm probably going to end up trading the other one. We could go with a receiver, actually, and just not even trade that pick. Am I going to change my mind here? I think I might. So we know the talent on these 2 receivers. Ricardo Jones and DeAndre Whitfield are both late round 1 to 2 guys, right? So D catch in traffic is bad, but the A catching I like quite a bit. He is a good athlete. It's funny that speed is marginal for a guy that ran 4.43. What do you mean marginal? This guy, he can run real fast. Like, who's a guy who ran low 4.4? Odell Beckham Jr. That's not a marginal speed guy. I think I'm going to go with Ricardo Jones, though. Jones has a break tackle, carrying, catching traffic, and catching. But the big thing with him is he's just the complete antithesis, which, man, did not think I was going to work that word into a video today, of the receiver we drafted in the 1st round. Big-bodied, physical, chain mover. Welcome Ricardo Jones to Chicago. Not moving far. It just makes sense. The Bears going with a Big Ten guy. It just makes sense to keep them kind of local. 89 acceleration, 92 agility, 90 change of direction for a guy that's 6'3", 224 is amazing. 92 jumping, 91 speed, 70 strength. Feels really good for a receiver. I'm a big fan of this pick. And now I think we're going to have 3 capable receivers that we can look to. I didn't really think about taking 2 receivers in this draft, but I'm pretty happy we did just based on the way things look right now. And we're about to take a linebacker that I like a lot. So let's go ahead and give him a shot here. It's Max Hughes. Had my eye on this guy for a while now, and this guy seems like he's going to be a really solid player. Also has some rush moves as well, even though that's not really his game. But elite speed and very good skills too. Welcome to Chicago. Also, hidden development. 86 speed, 87 acceleration. It's tough to know much when we only have the athletic ratings here, but yeah, very good athlete, well-rounded. Simulating to day 3 of the NFL draft. We're going to be into round 5 here. And if there's an offensive lineman on the board that I had in my favorites, I'm going to go ahead and draft him probably. And he is still available. And there are actually some round 3 to 4 talents at receiver still remaining in this class. So I might consider taking one of those guys as well. But my first order of business is taking Paul Pierman here. He is an offensive lineman out of USF, a pass block. Here's the thing. He's not perfect. Obviously, he's a day 3 guy. The run block finesse and run block power are so bad. D lead blocking is also not good. But when I see a pass block finesse, it shows me that at the very least, this guy's going to be an awesome pass protector. A to C impact blocking and run blocking. Even if it's a C, I'm not really too mad about it. He's an elite pass protector. That's why he's the pass protector archetype. Does have hidden dev as well, 85 strength. This draft has been going very well for me so far. And we'll go ahead and take our final pick here. Very rarely will you see me guys draft into the 7th round. But another really great athlete here. Colt Stevenson. Classic Patriots type player here. B deep route running, B run block. I mean, he's bad, but around 3 to 4 talent with 95 speed. Special teams impact player, I don't know. All right, let's see how the draft went. We're going to miss out on the best player in the draft, no question, but that's just the way it is. The cornerback's going to be amazing, but I think we did phenomenally. 78 overall, 77 overall for James Ellington, but our first pick was big. Ricardo Jones is a 74, not bad. Max Hughes is a 75. I might start him over Alexander Johnson right now. And then Paul Pierman as a 73 overall with hidden development. That could be a starter right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so wow. Running back, 81 overall, amazing. This is one of the most stacked draft classes I've probably seen in Madden 23. A 79 overall corner here in Brian Massey. But an 80 overall quarterback is just ridiculous. That's such a high overall. 93 throw power, 78 deep, 88 medium, 90 short. I'm ignoring the morale negatives there, but unbelievable pick. And yeah, worth taking over Davis Mills, I would say. And then Calvin Reynolds is an 81 overall, like was going to be. 90 speed is a bit low. So if you were actually playing the games, probably would want a little bit more than that. But 83 man coverage, 81 zone, you knew it was going to be amazing. He is 23 years old. I wouldn't be shocked to be a superstar X Factor, but he's not generational, so I could see it being lower, and it is only star. So maybe you would prefer this other corner. He's 2 years younger. He's faster. The coverage is not that different. And his development trait is, survey says, superstar. I'd prefer him. Now, this could be, I don't know if you'd say generational at quarterback, but this is one of the really, really rare super high overall prospect builds, and he does have superstar X Factor. Unreal player. This draft class is super stacked, but we got Austin Knox at number 10. I think that's pretty great value. He's a top 5 ranked player in the entire class. Really good guard there, taken in the 3rd round. James Ellington's right at the top as well. A bunch of good running backs, good corners. I mean, even Will Battaglia from North Texas. That's a really great pick. A 75 overall quarterback is not easy to come by. Okay, so, I mean, Paul Pierman does fit our current scheme. Do I leave it in Chicago Bears playbook? I like our receivers. We got KJ Osborne somehow. I don't know how that happened. Stolen from the Vikings. Cody Whitehair could move back to center, or I could just change him to I could just keep, I'm going to move Pierman over to right guard, actually. I think I'm going to go ahead and try out the Cowboys playbooks. I think what they're doing is going to work really well for us. I mean, Dak and Justin Fields could play a similar game, and also they always do really, really well in simulation. So I'm going to take my chance. It seems like a perfect fit based on our personnel. So I've moved Alexander Johnson to MLB 2. Hughes will start. There's just too much potential there not to. And Ronnie Harrison, like, eventually, I think he starts at safety. I just don't see Eddie Jackson being here for some reason. I just don't. He's an 84 overall, 29 or 30 years old now. So this will be the team. We do lose the scheme fit on Pierman when we go to this new scheme, but we get it on Justin Fields and David Montgomery and Elton Jenkins and my receivers. So I'm okay with it. Defensively, This is what I'm going with. Again, Eddie Jackson, I don't know exactly what happens there, but for right now, this is what I'm going with. And it's a good thing I didn't draft the corner because we just really didn't need him. Kyler Gordon coming on strong, who I obviously want to focus on as one of the top draft picks for the Bears this past season. Jalen Johnson's a beast. We signed Greedy Williams. We just really didn't need him that badly. And then it's a little bit weird with Ronnie Harrison as an outside linebacker, but he's just really not going to be actually a linebacker very often for me, so I wouldn't worry about it. And we'll go to the midseason mark and check in. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to go to the regular season so I can change my scouts. Let me do that. Oh, we got a Raheem Royal. Shout out the Riverside Royals. NCAA 14 College Football Revamped Dynasty. Now, this guy is a really good athlete. Will I end up taking a corner this next year? It's possible. I mean, maybe I'll just keep it on wide receiver and corner, considering this class, the national strengths are also wide receiver and corner, and we could still take those positions, even though we just got some big upgrades. We could still go that way, but I got to change all the regional options. 3 and 4 at the midseason mark is not great. It's worse than it was last year, which tells me maybe we're going to be better in the second half of the season. Just, roles reversed a little bit. David Montgomery's here. No real interest in re-signing. Jalen Johnson, same deal. Darnell Mooney, same deal. Why would Darnell Mooney not want to come back? Franchise quarterback, Super Bowl chase. Oh, God. Since when is Darnell Mooney only about winning? How do you know? A lot of big free agents, man. I think Travis Gibson's going to get a contract. I'd love to bring back everybody else, but they don't really seem that interested. Travis Gibson returns. Do I just wait on some of these guys? He wants money. I mean, I get it. Let me just offer Jalen Johnson. He wants a little bit more money. And I might wait on Darnell Mooney. Maybe we make the playoffs and then he has more interest. That could happen. Well, we went 6-11. It's not great. Our offense was the 20th best in football. We're still getting better as a team, though. Our defense was really, really bad. Justin Fields had a really good year. I really can't complain about any of his numbers. David Montgomery took a massive step up, averaging nearly 5 yards per carry on 12 touchdowns, over 1,400 yards on 290 attempts. Great season. And look at our receivers. 3 receivers, including the tight end, with over 1,000 yards. And James Ellington, our receiver 2, actually wasn't even at 1,000 yards, and he was receiver 2. I guess Ricardo Jones played in the slot. And he has superstar dev. Okay. We've done pretty well here. And he could even go up to superstar X Factor with winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. So that is a massive draft pick. What does James Ellington have? Only star, but he does also have 97 speed. And that bald head's for aerodynamic purposes. Roquan had 137 tackles, 7 of them for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 2 picks. Travis Gibson, interesting numbers. 18 tackles for loss for him, 3 sacks though. 16 tackles for loss for Derek Nottie, no sacks. That one's not as crazy, considering the position he plays. We really didn't get a ton of pressure on the quarterback, at all. 11 sacks for the rookie Austin Knox. I would say that's a really good number. He only has star dev, but that's still good. 86 power moves, 76 finesse moves coming out. He's a good player. Broncos beat the Bucs in simulation. I actually forgot to check out the development trait of my linebacker. I didn't really even see him in the stats very much. So I'm curious how much he even played. Defensively, does have star dev. Okay, so dev trait regression, even though I have it turned off, is just staying on. So annoying. I'm giving him superstar dev again. Austin Knox won Defensive Rookie of the Year, so he's going to go up to Superstar Dev, though, and is actually 2 XP away from getting another bonus here. I think we'll just go Power Rusher and try to get that into the 90s. Makes the most sense to me. I will say I'm a little bit frustrated with Jaquan Brisker gaining basically no XP his entire career so far. It's really tough to develop a player when they just don't get any XP. So I don't really know how to handle that. Pierman does have a star dev, by the way. Not really a surprise there. Season recap has the Texans quarterback Jimmy Flaherty winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. We already know the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Josh Allen won MVP. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. I feel like it works out to be that pretty often. Von Miller, Defensive Player of the Year. And the Broncos and Russell Wilson with a Super Bowl victory over the Buccaneers. Don't know if Tom Brady's on that team still or not. Do have an upgrade for Ricardo Jones here. Let's get him playmaker. I've heard this is actually really, really good for getting upgrades. And, I mean, wow. +4 short route running? That's pretty good. Ricardo Jones is already a good short route runner, but he just got a lot better. So our re-sign interest on Darnell Mooney has actually gone up incredibly, and that's because Justin Fields now has the franchise quarterback tag. So we made a really good decision with waiting on him. I'm a little bit worried that he's just not going to re-sign anyway. So I'm going to bump up the money a little bit, and Darnell Mooney's back. Cole Kmet, I'm going to overpay for him a little bit, but I'm going to have to if I want to bring back some of these guys who have middling interest, we'll say. So I'm going to go... And this is not really even that bad for Jalen Johnson anyway. Not interested in signing. I'm not interested in your opinion. I'm going to franchise tag you probably. And David Montgomery, I'll just give him a big contract. It's going to be as expensive. He's going to test free agency as well. Well, I'm going to franchise tag Jalen Johnson. It is a lot of money, but it's also only for 1 year, and it gives me time to renegotiate with him. This receiver looks pretty great. Catching's only a C, but he's a really solid route runner at all levels. Even B deep route running's pretty good. I don't love C catching, but everything's good with Will Scott. He's just not the best athlete. He's definitely good, but I don't really think I'm going to prioritize receiver in this one. I would say the draft is kind of wide open. I could go in so many different directions. Also, I have a lot of receivers at 100%, and here's the thing. That receiver at the very top of the board, Will Scott, we know he is a top 5 talent in the draft. We know he is. And he looks really good. The question becomes, do we need a 4th receiver to be that good? And the honest answer is we don't. But it's tough to pass on someone that you know is so talented. So we're still going to have a ton of money. Over 100 mil, even after the franchise tag to Jalen Johnson. So we can do a bunch of different things here. We need a kicker, but obviously not my biggest issue. Nick Bosa could be a big addition, as could Chase Young. Chase Young would be huge, and he's interested. David Montgomery really not interested in coming back, but Tony Pollard's here. Cam Akers is here. Cam Akers is actually going to be cheaper than David Montgomery would even be. I'm going to go after him. So I have Chase Young, Cam Akers, Will Lutz, the kicker, and Jonah Jackson targeted. I think we're in a pretty good spot on these guys, and I don't really even think we're paying all that much. So we're going to go ahead and evaluate offers. Cam Akers remains available, but we're the only team who's offered him, and the Packers and Dolphins are going big on Jonah Jackson. We signed, not Chase Young, he's headed to the Giants. We got Will Lutz, and that's it. You got to be kidding me. And you know, Knox could even potentially play defensive tackle for me if we were to go big and get like Nick Bosa, for example. He's not the best run defender, but he is also 6'4", 280. Like, it's a big dude. He's definitely scheme versatile. How would it look in a 3-4? I'm tempted to move Ronnie Harrison back to strong safety over Jaquan Brisker. I think I'm not going to do that just yet, though. We would go... Knox would stay at defensive end. We would have Bosa, of course, at outside linebacker. Gibson at outside linebacker. Noddy at nose tackle. And then we would have Smith and Hughes playing inside linebacker. Is that a better fit? I'm kind of talking myself into it. Yeah, I'm going to go to the Rams base 3-4, and we'll see what happens. Our defense was not very good last year, so we're going to mix it up. So because we missed out on Chase Young, it is now so important to get Nick Bosa, and he is not going to be cheap. Also, Justin Herbert in free agency, 10 teams interested. Like, what if that even happened in real life? Surely you'd have, I mean, probably even more than that interested, right? So, the moment of truth. It's time to evaluate offers. I've got Nick Bosa, Cam Akers, Ed Oliver, and Jonah Jackson. Ed Oliver, I think, is going to end up playing right end for me. And, I mean, we got to sign him first. Everyone's gone. Please show me Nick Bosa, Cam Akers, Ed Oliver. Also Jonah Jackson. All right. Clean sweep. We had to pay a little bit, but that's why we have the money. Get the players we want. Still have $40 million in available salary cap. That was a huge move for our franchise. Massive. You know, I almost wonder if it would have been a better move to get like like offer big on Daniil Hunter and bring him in and then go like instead of Travis Gibson at outside linebacker, we'd have Daniil Hunter. But I guess it's good to keep some of the core of the Chicago Bears. And I guess he's a good player that they have. Nick Bosa is going to be at outside linebacker. Ronnie Harrison, I moved to strong safety. It didn't save. Okay. I promise you it did. Or I did. I think when you get the random glitch that it kicks you for inactivity, it just forgets some of the things that you've done. Like I had to offer Nick Bosa the contract twice. But Ronnie Harrison's a scheme fit at strong safety. It's just the best move for the team. Jaquan Brisker's really not developing the way that I wanted him to. And then offensively, I'm going to put the former center at center again? No brainer. Cam Akers is big too. I mean, this team is starting to look unbelievable. Just got to develop some guys. But I really like the pieces we have in place. And I think we've pretty much just done it through the draft and development. Obviously, there have been some big free agent signings, like Nick Bosa now is huge. Keeping Justin Fields around. Cody Whitehair, Tevin Jenkins, Cole Kmet, drafted 2 receivers along with keeping Darnell Mooney. Lost David Montgomery, but he just didn't want to be back. And then, of course, Roquan Smith. Have changed some of the team a little bit, obviously, but Eddie Jackson, Travis Gibson, Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon still here. I wanted Jaquan Brisker to work out, but it just didn't seem to be in the cards. NFL draft time. We can go a number of different directions here. We still have a top 10 pick in the draft, even though I feel really confident about where my team is. Safety is an option. I think we're going to give Ronnie Harrison a go, though. Depends on how good the safeties are. I like the offensive line. I would consider a receiver just because we know he's going to be really good. And then you look at the rest of the offense, what would I draft? Defensively, I like my linebackers, maybe a defensive tackle, maybe a corner. Okay, so the safeties, there's maybe one I would consider, but I think I'm probably going to end up taking the receiver. I'm still looking around, doing my due diligence, right? But there's no one that really particularly stands out to me as, okay, I got to draft him. Like, the top corner, Raheem Royal out of Toledo, he looks like he's a real solid player. Like, going to be really, really, really good. But do I value that over a 4th receiver? I don't know. Jamar Hodge is somebody I like down the board quite a bit. A to C finesse moves is kind of what stands out to me with his athleticism already. Could be a good rotational pass rusher. And if I'm going to take a defensive tackle, which is in play, I have 2 different options. I could go with the big-time speed rusher, who has good enough block shed, good tackle, is a really solid athlete. And down the board, that's probably what I'm going to opt to do, just to see what type of player he is. Or, right, DJ Moreland out of Miami, who's just a really well-rounded player. Maybe better. I mean, probably better. But I think it's going to be a pretty good class. Some good players in here. Unquestionably. Will Scott's good. I don't know what I'm going to do in the draft, dude. I think there's some really good pass rushers. Nick Aguayo is one that looks pretty good. He's got A power moves, A tackle. Pretty good athlete as well. I really have not decided what to do yet. A corner. Raheem Royal goes number 1 to the Jags. There goes Larry Rutland. The Texans take Earl Dawson. Do I trade up for the receiver? It is tough to rationalize moving up for a receiver. We know he's going to be really good, though. Potentially competing to start right away. I don't know. We'll just keep going. Receiver is still on the board. He's still on the board. Panthers take a defensive end. I mean, at this point, we're only going to be trading up 2 spots. I'm adding in a 6 and a 7, and I'm moving up from number 9 to number 7, and I think I'm going to take the receiver. The guy is just a really good player. Not the best athlete of all time. Like, that's obvious. All the receiving attributes look really, really good. I also like Randy Farr quite a bit. He's a defensive end. Would probably move him to outside linebacker given our current scheme. He's not really athletic enough to do that. So maybe I'm just going to take the receiver. Zay Teal, 6'5", 277. A power moves, pretty great athlete. Zay Teal could be worth trading up for back into the first round. I'm going to go with the receiver, though. That's what I'm doing. Will Scott, he lasted on the board. We know he's a top 5 talent. He's available at 7. I'm taking him. Will Scott, normal development. I'm probably not going to end up starting him just because he has normal dev. 89 speed, 96 jumping, 88 agility is pretty good, 92 excel. But yeah, normal dev, he probably doesn't play over my other options. There goes Zay Teal at number 18. Wasn't going to move back up that far for him, but I do think the player is going to be pretty good. With Zay Teal off the board, I'm going to simulate to my pick. There is a running back I'll consider taking if he makes it, but we'll see what happens. The running back did not make it, so that, of course, changes things a little bit. Not really a player that I have watched for a while, but I don't really think I added many players to my watch list, so I'm going to have to go back through and check out some of these names. Cliff Huff was a safety I liked. Good athlete out of LSU. B hit power, B zone coverage. That's pretty good and can run a little bit. Another round 1 to 2 receiver. We've had a receiver really covered in this rebuild with my national scout. I'm going to take Cliff Huff. Strong safety, does have hidden dev, 91 speed. Looks like he's a really good athlete. And then we don't pick until the 4th round, but there are players I like before then. So probably going to end up moving back up. And then look at Steve Whitfield, man. Round 1 talent at playmaker here. 6'1", 207. Real fast. I mean, this is a running back with a spectacular catch. I could use depth at running back. I think I'd consider taking him. Trading a 1st round pick next year, a 5th round pick this year, a 4th round pick next year for number 46 overall in the draft, and a 1st round pick next year from the Cardinals. So it's a 1st round swap, and then we're trading a 4 next year, 5 this year for a 2nd right now. It can't hurt to get more talent on offense. I know we don't need a receiver, but I told you guys, I plan on making this guy a running back, and at 6'2", 215, I think that's going to be... This is not the same guy. There are 2 round 1 receivers down the board here. Okay, so I moved up a little bit too early. Not that early. This guy could honestly go at any minute. I also want a defensive tackle. I've got a number of wants. Demetrius Covington is the other one, so I'm going to have to move back up for him as well. Yeah, I'm going to take him. Steve Whitfield, another receiver being drafted, but again, I plan on him being a running back for me. We'll have to see. Does have hidden dev. 92 speed, 93 change of direction, 91 agility, 92 acceleration. He's going to be a sick running back. Carrying is so low, though, but juke move is so high. We'll have to see. Is there any chance this defensive tackle makes it to me in the, or makes it to the 3rd at least? Probably not, but maybe. No, he could. 17 spots down, he could. Did he just go? Did he just jump 3 different defensive tackles to go to the Colts? That was definitely the guy. All right, it's a good learning lesson. Trading a 3 next year and a 4 this year to move up to number 67. Just don't think that pick's going to be super valuable for me next year. There's a player I like enough to take, so I'm going to take him. He is a pass rusher with good athleticism. Don't really know too much about him other than that. I'm going to take a chance here on Jamar Hodge. Elite speed, acceleration, kind of all I needed to see. We'll take him. He is 23, normal dev, but good athlete. Can't draft a hidden dev player with every draft pick, although I tried to. And I think we've done quite well here. Now, Hodge is only a 66, but Will Scott's a 79, which is amazing. Cliff Huff is a 74, good backup. And then Steve Whitfield is a 76 overall. But I'm going to be changing him to running back. So we'll see if that overall jumps up. And I think it might. I'm not going to give him 14. I'll give him 20. And he moves up to a 78. So his spectacular catch is probably just like really amazing. 86 for a running back. But I just think he makes a little bit more sense at running back. Carrying isn't great, but everything else is. Now, Raheem Royal was an 81 overall corner, really good. These draft classes have been pretty solid with top-end talent. Will Scott is a 79. Again, normal development is not what I wanted, but as you can see here, he's playing up to an 82. The player is very good. Steve Whitfield just goes up to superstar dev. Dude, all I did was the mentor rookie from from Cam Akers, and he's just like, Steve Whitfield, you may have superstar development. All right. Well, the offense is great now. Really, really great. And I also love where the defense is. I think we're in a really good spot. We have depth at really every position. Free safety, strong safety, corner certainly. Our defensive line, I think so. And I'm really hoping that Nick Bosa makes a huge, immediate impact for this Bears team. Why Ed Oliver would be the rush right end over Knox, I have no idea. See, we just had the Steve Whitfield get superstar dev again. I got disconnected from the league due to inactivity, which makes no sense. This is going to be about my rookie linebacker. Yep, I did block shedding last time. I don't know why that happens. No idea. And now I have to go in and make all the changes I just made again. Because my specialists, I want Knox and Oliver, and then Gibson and Bosa. 4-3 at the midseason mark. Vikings currently at 4-2, but this game, as we lost 30-0 by the way the previous week, this game could decide the division winner. And in fact, it will. Got to upgrade. These two names couldn't be further apart. We got Doug Kramer, we got Lil Bo Pete Keys. Bo Pete is like, I haven't seen that before, I'm going to be honest. Haven't seen Bo Pete Keys. Reminds me of Lil Bo Peep every time I see it. And we did get the win. 5-3. Vikings, Packers, Lions, all with 4 wins. And Austin Knox, new ability unlocked. Okay, he was already superstar. For some reason, I thought superstar X Factor, but no. We did not make the playoffs. Went 9-8. I'm going to do another season after this as well. It's a little bit frustrating. We've been close. The 9th best offense, in terms of yards at least. Was it our defense that held us back? 5th best defense in terms of yards. 18th in points scored, to be fair. And then 6th. Our defense was great. Our offense was the problem, but like, we're putting up numbers. Justin Fields just 5 yards shy, a little hitch route away from 5K. 41 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Great year. MVP type stuff, really. Cam Akers over 1,100 yards, 16 TDs. Phenomenal year. But look at Ricardo Jones. 21 touchdowns on 89 catches. The ratio is unbelievable. Cole Kmet, big numbers, a catch shy of 100 catches. Darnell Mooney, very consistent. James Ellington put up really good numbers as the 4th option. Roquan Smith with very good numbers. 15 tackles for loss is great. 2.5 sacks. Nick Bosa put up 15.5, big impact. Austin Knox with 12.5, 11 for Ed Oliver. Only 5.5 for Trevis Gibson's a little bit concerning. And then Max Hughes led our team in interceptions with 3. Our defense is good. That's not the problem. It's crazy with our numbers to say that our offense just needs to convert more, but they do. Because we were really, really good, just not good enough. Packers beat the Titans in the Super Bowl. Aaron Jones wins Super Bowl MVP. Josh Allen with another MVP. And then Zach Taylor, Coach of the Year. Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year. Von Miller, Defensive Player of the Year. And then 2 guys who don't matter to me win Rookie of the Year. Now, our expiring contracts are kind of big here. Eddie Jackson, I'm really not super interested in. Justin Fields is expiring. Okay. And I say expiring. We're here. This is the time to bring him back or let him go. And obviously, I will do whatever it takes to keep Justin Fields in Chicago. Jalen Johnson contract, Justin Fields, Cody Whitehair, maybe. Johnson I'll let walk. Tevin Jenkins I want back. And Jalen Johnson returns. Anytime they're like not super interested, I just go ahead and I offer them the low risk contract. And it usually will work. But on Justin Fields, I'm going to go medium. Still paying him a ton. But it's actually a fairly reasonable contract. He wants to play for a new team next year. With that much re-sign interest, that didn't get him. Okay, dude. Tevin Jenkins returns. Well, actually, we don't even need Justin Fields. We'll just re-sign Lamar Jackson. We'll be good to go. I'm letting Eddie Jackson walk. It's $50 million. It's $50 million to franchise tag Justin Fields. I can afford it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to franchise tag Justin Fields. It's a 50 mil tag, dude. That is insane. Nick Chubb is here, as is Aaron Jones. Kyle Pitts would be quite a combination with Justin Fields. So my biggest need right now is a center. Could also use a safety. It's crazy that Garrett Bradbury's already 30 in this. Just an older rookie, I guess, but still. Seems a little weird. Javon Holland would be sick. Could always bring back Eddie Jackson. Right now I have Jaquan Brisker starting at free safety. And we could keep that. I'm going to offer Eddie Jackson. See if he'll return. And it just might be the best option for me. Gonna hit an eval offers here. And we got all three: Eddie Jackson, Jack Fox, and Garrett Bradbury. Oh, also, by the way, Cliff Huff has superstar development. Did he get that, or did he just have it? He just had it. Now I almost wish I didn't bring back Eddie Jackson and just rocked with a young starter, which is still an option. I can just move Eddie Jackson down. It's not like the money's really a problem. Okay, the only thing I really want in the draft is a fourth corner. That's pretty much it. 3 quarterbacks in a row at the very top of this. I think I'm just going to spend my points on the corners. They're definitely bad. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'll look at these two. So we pick at number 12 overall. This draft is going to be very, very quick in the video, I would imagine. This is the guy. Jeffrey Dawkins ran 4.28 at his pro day. Elite speed with good man cover skills and is not awful in zone coverage. That's my fourth corner. It isn't even a question. Jeffrey Dawkins is on the board. Is this corner better? Round 1 talent. Looks very similar. Oh, also very similar athleticism. You know what's interesting, though? Is that his speed is certified great. Look at that. Ran 4.32 and then 4.27. Great speed. I don't know if you can see that behind my face cam, but it says great. Now, the other corner, Jeffrey Dawkins, ran 4.31 and then 4.28 with elite speed. What is the differentiator? I'm going to say that he has elite speed post-draft. I'm going to say he's faster. I'm going to take Jeffrey Dawkins. Normal dev. Does have 95 speed, though. I don't think development trait's going to be too important for a fourth corner. But, I mean, a little bit annoying to get normal dev. It just looks ugly. Is this the same corner still on the board? I think it is, yeah. Let's take him. Also normal. Nice. Very cool. Didn't do too bad, though. 75 and a 76 overall corner. I think that's pretty good. I didn't really look at this class at all, and wow, it was not a good one. I mean, a lot of depth, like 876 overalls. But, yeah, that's the highest in the entire class. Number 1 player was a center. We got the number 2 player. Okay, let me see if my thought process was correct. So Corliss Pritchett had great speed, 94, and the other one had elite speed, 95. So now we know the threshold of what great can even go up to. Max of 94, and then elite starts at 95. That's good information, I guess. And that's just for corner. It's changing for every single position. So something important to keep in mind. Maybe it's the same for receiver. Wouldn't shock me if they kept the same threshold. By the way, if I didn't mention it, Austin Knox does have superstar X Factor. Big time. All right, I'm going to set it up like this. Travis Gibson just wasn't all that good in his opportunities last season. So I'm rocking this. Ellington in the slot. Okay, I'll do it. 4 and 2 at the midseason mark. I'm going to need to see a little bit better than that. That's not bad. That's a very good start. But it's not what I needed. We have trade offers for Jaquan Brisker. I'm not going to accept any of these. It's an interesting offer. And we went 8 and 9, dude. It's so unbelievable. We're at 91. We scored 31 points per game, 4th best in the league. Our defense was just average, which was a huge step down from the previous year. And we don't make the playoffs. Justin Fields had a really good year. Cam Akers had a tremendous year, 21 touchdowns. Receiving, James Ellington put up 10 touchdowns, as did Ricardo Jones. So did Cole Kmet. Very similar numbers from the entire receiving core, really. Darnell Mooney just didn't find the end zone quite so much. And then, I mean, look at the pressure that we're getting. First of all, so many tackles for loss. And then 18.5 sacks for Knox, 15 for Bosa, 13.5 for Ed Oliver. 4 interceptions for Roquan, and then 1 for Eddie Jackson, and those were all of the interceptions for the entire team. No way. The Brady Bowl, Bucks beat the Patriots. I'm going to try to do one more. I have to make the playoffs at least one time, dude. Like, yes, the point is not necessarily to win the Super Bowl. I'd like to. The point of the rebuild is just to make the team really, really good, and we are. We just are not winning enough. Justin Fields being back is the big thing. I'm just going to run through this, and then we'll do a very quick offseason. A lot of superstar dev going on. Cole Kmet now has superstar dev. We know about the receiving core already. And then defensively, Nick Bosa and Ed Oliver, superstar X Factor. And this free safety is going to start over Eddie Jackson for the final year. What do I need, really? A D tackle? You know, it's wild. There's this quarterback, Stephen Broyles here. elite athleticism with a great arm and good overall throwing number. I mean, like B deep, B medium, A short. This quarterback's going to be crazy, and he's available in the middle of the first round. I can't draft him because I don't need him at all. At all. You know what? This defensive tackle looks good enough to draft. Only C Blackshed, unfortunately. If he's a good athlete, I'll pull the trigger. I mean, he kind of is. Matthias Burke, welcome to the team. The quarterback's going to be better. Quarterback's going to be the best player in this draft class. Maybe not the highest overall, but will be the best player. I would bet anything. We're going to let the CPU handle the rest, though. Matthias Burke is a 73. I was hoping for a little bit higher, actually. This quarterback's going to be crazy. He is a 78 overall, a very good overall for a quarterback. 93 throw power as well, 77 deep, 77 medium, 84 short with 94 speed. It's a really good player, and I would bet Superstar X Factor. That would be my bet. Let's see here. Does he? Of course he does, which, you know, I think that was pretty obvious. CPU drafted a decent running back. But, yeah, I mean, we got a really good team. If we don't make the playoffs here, I'm going to be very disappointed. Now, Zone Hawk feels like a pretty bad ability for Nick Bosa to have. Why would they give that to him? All right, not much to do. I'm going to simulate to the playoffs, and hopefully we're actually going to be in them this year. Okay, that is more like it. 11-6, made the playoffs with a 92 overall team. We're just going to play it cool. Like, hey, we haven't been here before. All right, so what? Okay, no risk, no reward. Well, I don't care. I want to win. Wow, Justin Fields threw for over 5,000 yards. Did throw a lot of interceptions, though. 15 for where we've seen him for the most of this. 22 touchdowns for Cam Akers. Really good. Darnell Mooney led our team in yards. However, more catches go to the tight end. Cole Kmet get 103 catches. I would kind of prefer my receivers to get targeted more, a little bit more explosive. Roquan Smith had 160 tackles, and that's not even the craziest thing here. Austin Knox, 16 tackles for loss on the team with 20 and a half sacks, and that still was not more than Nick Bosa's 25, new NFL record. 9 for Ed Oliver, interceptions. We actually got some turnovers this time. And Nick Bosa, I mean, that's got to be Defensive Player of the Year. Not only did he have 25 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and nearly 100 tackles and 2 interceptions, that's absolutely Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, it has to be. It has to be. Let's see here. NFC Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. Love to see it. A couple more Bears in there as well. All right, can we beat the Packers in the wild card? Probably not. We do. 21-7. Okay. Falcons in here. Do I jump in for this one? They're an 85 overall, and they're going to beat us. And it's going to be so sad. Let's see it. Show it to me. Yep, 24-14. It's so stupid, dude. I'm not saying that, like, we should win every game, but it's a 93 overall team playing an 85. It's not the same. And the Texans beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. It's pretty disappointing to, like, continue to not win. Our team is so good, and dev trait regression still turned off, and it's still happening. Really, really annoying. But what are you going to do? That is the video. We built a juggernaut, and at the end of the day, that's all I'm really looking to do. At least in terms of, like, roster. The result, not what we wanted. It is what it is. We'll keep trucking, and we'll get back to the Bears with a realistic rebuild later down the line. Still in Madden 23. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.